All right, here we go. Well, let's start off with this first. So, what's up, Elijah? Morris, what's up, man? Here we go. What's up, man? DJ, of course, yes, of course. There was only one time I couldn't meet someone, and that's literally because my son was born like a day early. There was one that was the one time someone came here, and I just could not make it. My dad was in town. It was hot as fuck, and my son was literally born like he was. My son was supposed to be born, I think, on that Thursday or that Friday. I think I can't remember the day he was born now. But my he was supposed to be born like further, and she ended up going to labor like a day or two early, and that was the only time I did not meet someone who came to Prague in some kind of way, especially from YouTube type of thing. So like unless there's like some completely weird anomaly of a situation, I can at least meet up with you at least once or twice. Right, but that because he was on a time limit because they were trying to travel out of here. I think they had come just to like they pretty much did a pit stop kind of thing, so they didn't really like come here to stay. And then on top of that, like I said, my son was born like he wasn't supposed to be born on that day, so I thought I could make it work, just didn't work. That was the only time that I know of that someone came here, and I just couldn't get it to work. But yeah. Yeah. That was me. Oh, that was you? Oh, yeah. What's up, Ivy Bo? Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, man. I could grab some coffee with you if I come to. Oh, of course, man. Yeah. I got a horrible headache, so I'm going to try to make it through about an hour and a half because I got an awful headache. I almost just said fuck it, but then I said fuck it. Yeah. Because my son was born June 16th. He was supposed to be born June, I think, June like 18th or 19th or something like that. And yeah, he came like a day or two early, and I just couldn't make it, man. Like, so yeah, I still feel bad about that. I still feel bad about that. Yeah, yeah, the bachelor's party. That's what it was, a bachelor party. Yeah, I still feel bad about that to this day. Like, I still do, man. Because I usually like I would do the best I can. Oh God, my head is fucking pounding. But we gonna go ahead and make it through for an hour and a half because I really want to talk about what the title says: why being in the middle can be, just it really. I'd say being in the middle. Well, being in every walk of life can essentially be its own trap. But what I used to say a long time ago is, in my opinion, in reality, the rich and the poor have a lot more in common than they think. If you want to be real, if you want to be real about it, my opinion is I think the middle class are the weirdo freaks of the whole situation. And I'm going to go into that because I'm going to break it down. I actually tried to write down some notes to give it even like maybe like a different perspective, just to kind of maybe just explain it the best, is in different areas of life and shit that may come up. And with these examples, it's by no means like every single case because every human can be very different, but overall the general can be generalized. So it's really just a generalizing thing. But I'm gonna go into why it sucks to be in the middle, and I'm gonna bring it back to Czech Republic on why Czech Republic always has almost this victim mentality because of history. But it's like their history it suffers from that eternally being in the middle type of shit. So it's like this is it's all because I was stumbling on like some fucking I googled like uh are Czech women like beautiful or something like that, and I think I ended up on like Quora or something like that, and somebody even in there when I went on about how Czech Republic's history of being being lied to and all this stuff throughout history, like Czechs don't like they're not very open, they don't trust a lot, that type of thing. Um, and I was gonna go into their position in that and why that really why I touched on it last week, but maybe this will shed more light on why it sucks, like why it sucks being in the middle on many different areas. But again, I think the rich and the poor are have more in common than they think, and I've always said that. I think the rich and the poor have more. I mean, when I say poor, I mean like poor, like they can't say you can't save any money type shit, right? These two sides have the most in common in sense of in the sense of knowing themselves. Now, a monkey wrench in North America is in my opinion, is that the proper way to use monkey wrench? Is the African American situation? And just because I'm not gonna make it about like race like this total live stream like I did last week. But I think the issue with in North America, and real quick side note, if the internet gives out, I'm on Ethernet, and sometimes it just like randomly stops. So I have a live stream going over here to make sure I'm still going. So if it pauses, I'll be back. Um, but another issue with the African American situation in the United States, in my opinion, also comes to so it's a known thing that African Americans commit most of crimes, all this shit, most of certain crimes, right? Because it's different types of crimes are highly populated by different ethnicities, and actually the most dangerous, the highest crime rate in the U.S. is actually an all white neighborhood. I can't remember the exact where it's located. So, but on generally speaking, you can say yeah, African Americans cause most of the problems. They cause most of the crimes. Blah, 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 right? Now, I think that society immediately just kind of like I think deep down like society just always wants to just shit on brown people because it's just an easy way out for most of society to just do it. Like when shit just snowballs into that. But in my opinion, this is the most I'm going to talk about, like, this specific area individually, is that I think that when African Americans are doing this, okay, when the African American population is going out to kill somebody for their Jordans, they going out to kill somebody for their watches, they going out to kill somebody for their cars, for the Lamborghini, Mercedes, whatever the fuck. Whenever they're going out to do this, I think it's very misunderstood. And I think a little bit of it is intentional due to, misplace of ego and self-righteousness by most majority of society. When the black population is going out and doing this, when they're doing anything they can to get that new wristwatch, to get that new jacket, they're not killing for the jacket by itself. They're going out and killing because they're doing anything to try to latch their identity on to whatever they think is valuable. Because somebody touched last week on like why is it that the African American population, they just bounce from Muslim shit to India shit to American shit. They just bounce religions off because African Americans are in a severe identity crisis on average, right? So it again and that just goes back through history, right, of the United States. In my opinion, the violent crimes is not just because African Americans are just horrible people. It's a cry to try to figure out an identity. So, especially nowadays in consumerism, what's going to be the identity? What kind of phone you have, what kind of shoes you have, what kind of car you drive. That's going to be the identity of most people, but it's going to come out harder in the people who have no identity of themselves because it was beaten out of them for the last 300 years. You see, like, and that's just my quick opinion on that. Because I'm going to go off into this other, because I got the iPad, I'm going to like draw out why it sucks to be in the middle, right? God, my head is fucking pounding, man. What's up, Gerald? Gerald? You don't have to feel bad about that. I love you, man, nonetheless. But I do appreciate your concern. Oh, thanks a lot, man. What's up, August? So, okay, wait, let me switch it. Here we go. So, so the first thing I wanted to touch on, well, I kind of just touched on it. But here, okay, but this is going to be, okay, so first we're going to touch on this. We're going to go rich. I ain't mean to make it at the top like that. But we're going to go here, right? So the rich are going to be, now it's just basic math. Like the rich are going to be the top, 1 to 10% of any population, right? So the rich are going to be over here in their own world, and the poor are going to be over here, which is going to be a bigger area, a bigger population of people. But the middle class is going to be here, right? And again, I'm not saying I'm going to be 100% right. This is just my opinion, pretty much freestyle at the top of my head, right? So in this situation, in my opinion, what ends up happening is the middle class ends up so wrapped up in themselves and how they look and what they're doing and this, and they end up so wrapped up among themselves that I would say they would spend at minimum 70% of their time, 70% of their total thought power in trying to just simply compete with everybody in this area, right? They're trying to compete. Well, okay, let me make it a little more. How do I get the eraser? It's been so long since I've used this. Oof, that's horrible. That's awful. I haven't used it in a long time. That's terrible. Um, but yeah, so maybe I'll get better as we go on. So the middle class will end up just nitpicking every little thing except completely accepting who they are in society, that they lose all track of self and in trying to either differentiate, well, are they over here or are they over here, right? And they'll spend entire lifetimes doing this. Right, when it comes to what kind of car you drive, what kind of clothes you wear. Oh, I heard they don't wash their dishes when like their whole lives end up wrapped. What I've come to find out is this class will essentially spend their entire time trying to figure out among themselves, are they over here or are they over here, right? Whereas these people essentially just know what they doing in life and just going on with their own culture, how they live in, whatever the fuck, right? The ones who are living in the most torment is this group. This is the group that's living in the most torment. It's well, am I doing as good as them? What kind of car does John have this week? Is it the black Mustang, or is the black GTO? They're constantly in this. Or are you upper middle, lower center, middle, lower, lesser, higher class? Like it's just constant, just torture of where they are and how they compare to who, right? Now, and don't get me wrong, the poor can do it too, and the rich can do it too. But in my opinion, I think the middle has it much worse because deep down, okay, maybe I could find another example. Now that we doing this, let me find this. I don't even know how. Let me see. Tower. I mean, it was like Tower of Capitalism or something like that. Let me see if I can find it. Yep, this is it. I guessed it and I got it right. Okay, so I got lucky with that shit. So this is what we're gonna do. Can I make? Yeah. Okay. So let me do this. Yep. Here we go. Oh wait, now I gotta take this off. Video capture device. There, right? So maybe I can just explain it real quick for anybody who's never seen this before. So with this, essentially, the bottom are the peasants. They're the one that's going to hold up everything together, right? The bottom are the peasants. They're going to be the farmers, the hard laborers, all that shit like that, right? And then the next step up is going to be, the next step. Well, this is kind of old now, dated, but the next step up in this example is going to be the classier people who are dressed well. They're going to walk and talk a little different in that. Then the next step up is going to be the military, especially in North America. The military is always kind of regarded as good until you get to like too good of areas, then people really don't fuck with the military like that. Again, this is a little outdated. Then the next step up is going to be the priests, the religion, because the religion is literally just the religion is literally just administered. It's documented as this. Religion is literally documented as this throughout history. It's administered as a psychological opiate for the masses, right? So you're gonna have them, and then at the height you're gonna have, of course, the richer, smaller portions of people, and that's what it's all gonna be built off of, right? So now the thing is, in reality, The group that's in the middle, well, you can't see where my mouse is. I wish I could put my mouse up here. The groups that are like more in the middle, see, they're the ones who are really going to be the most the ones who are struggling the most because they don't know if they're the working class, or they're just like kind of the working class, or can they hurry up and get a promotion to get boosted up there with the ones who say we rule you. Now the reality of it is, the top part of this, the we rule you part, they not gonna fuck with the whole middle area, right? Because they don't walk and talk like them. They're not the same cut of cloth. They don't have the same. They're not in the same homogenous group. I was pronouncing it wrong all last week. I would say homogeneous, homogenous. They're not part. And this is the part of humanity that I think is just there's no real way to truly get rid of it. I think trying to get rid of it is just a myth. I think it's hopeful wishing, but I think it's bullshit in the end. So again, so the middle class, in my opinion, what they end up doing, another reason why they live in so much just torture in their life, is because many of them will secretly believe that they're going to get a promotion next week that's going to just elevate them to the gods, right? And it never happens. Very rarely does it happen, right? And it just goes down the order. Like the weird part is everybody secretly kind of hopes that. That's the reason why the lottery is still played by the masses of people. That's why the lottery does so well. Is because they still have a hope that they'll raise up to the gods, right? But in the reality of it, those people who were born and raised, whatever culture you was born and raised in, you're gonna want to be around people who are like you, right? And it even comes down to just walk of life and culture, right? That it just is what it is. So the people in the middle, in my opinion, are the ones who's going to suffer more. Now, I'll give a quick example on why I think this. Another reason. So the friend of mine who actually who stayed in my flat in Ohio when I kept it there, we used to talk because he did a lot of years, and not a lot, he did a decent amount of time in prison, right? And I remember we would hang out, but before I came to Europe, we would hang out a lot when we were like early 20s. And we would watch these shows where I don't know the name of the show, but it was a reality show where they would go to prisons and watch the people go up for parole, right? And I remember his name's Ruben. Ruben wouldn't care if I told you guys his name. He said that is more torturous than just doing life in prison. He said because if you were just stuck in prison, you knew you weren't getting out. But now that but if they dangle that hope of you getting out, that's even worse. Because now it's like you live your whole life, hoping for that chance to get out. Like whereas if you were just guaranteed to judge you, like, okay, you're going to be here forever type shit, then you could psychologically deal with it much better, right? It's like, okay, I'm not getting out, whatever the fuck, right? I mean, there's going to be consequences from that, but from the overall theory, like, okay, I'm here, right? Whereas if you got that chance of getting out, it's going to fuck with you, right? I think that was one of the prisons that they had in where they would throw people. Well, pretty much what Batman in the movie Batman, where they put who you thought was Bane in that prison. The worst torture prison was the one that you think you can get out of, but you really can't type of shit. That's like one of the worst forms of tortures as far as prison go for a long term, outside of like physical torture, shit like that. But yeah, where we at? Me video capture. Which one is this? Okay, yeah. So, real quick, we're gonna go jump from that to what's my next one I want to go on? Okay, yeah, because this is another topic I seen. This is another topic I seen today, right? And this is what I want to talk about too. Let's do this. Right? Because I stumbled on this. There's something going viral, I think, maybe I'm just late, where it's this table. Let me see if I can find it. Is this table of women sitting with this, like, I guess it's a transgender dude or something like that. Let's see if I could find it. I think it was like called like at whatever. Yeah, this is it. So I'll pull it up real fast. But I want to get the camera view that I seen because I see maybe. Okay. Well, real quick, just for so where I came up with this, I'm just gonna pull this up real fast so that I show you what I'm talking about. So this I guess is a guy for real. I don't know. I can't fucking tell. Let me open this door real fast. So, and I was thinking about this because when I was younger, I was really interested. I was really interested in topics like incest, like transsexual shit. Like I was always interested in these areas of psychology. And back then, when I was interested, this was maybe 2010. I was interested. There wasn't a lot of information that I could find back then. Like now, information just exploded over the last 10 years. I say 10 to 12, not say 12, this is 2023. 12 years ago, 12, 13 years ago, like there just was not like information was really just starting to blow up in these more either taboo fields or more scientific fields. Because that's when I was doing biotech. And back then, like you couldn't even find a lot of this shit on the internet back then, like randomly on the internet back then, right? So with this transsexual shit, right? This is always, and I'm not even gonna try to roast them, right? But I think okay, in my opinion, what happens with this man woman shit, um, especially now that it's gained some traction, is it's exposing their awkwardness, right? And don't get me wrong. It's historically always been a little awkward. It's always been like the other. It's always been something that like you're not gonna be surprised to hear motherfuckers beat the shit out of him type shit. It's always been like that. I'm not saying it's right, but it's always been like that because again, humans are homogenous, right? We want things to be like how we are, right? Even if we don't really like it, we'll still consider it right, right? So, oh yeah. So I gotta get my train of thought back. So, because my head is fucking pounding. So this trans shit is very fucking it's the same awkwardness as let's say rich and poor. That middle class becomes so awkward because they're hyper fixated on themselves because in the end, the reality is they became their own thing, right? They became their own thing during the journey of trying to figure out what side to be on. They became their own thing, one. Two, didn't even realize they became their own thing. And then three, they're still secretly angry because they have this fight within themselves to figure out which side should they side with. Four, they know that neither side is really going to accept them because they're not like either side. Like for example, the middle class versus the rich and the poor. Well, the middle class, they're not poor because they're middle class, right? But the middle class is not rich because they're middle class, right? So while they're stuck in this middle zone, what's happening is they're getting frustrated. They're secretly getting frustrated and more angry and more upset because they know that they're not rich and they're not poor, But on the back end, they didn't even realize that they became their own individual. And I'm going to spell this out here. So with the man and woman. So here's the thing. At first glance, I think it's going to start coming together a little bit more with this. I hope I can make it make sense. So with the man and woman thing, right? And let's just say because whatever I'm gonna say is gonna be the wrong shit, right? They gonna, if anybody gay LGBT's gonna watch, they gonna say, oh, he did the wrong shit. You know what I'm trying to say with this shit, right? I'm gonna say the wrong shit because I don't, because this world is not anywhere near my realm of focus at the moment, right? So I'm gonna say that I'm gonna give the wrong pronouns or whatever the fuck, but you know what I'm trying to say. So with the man and woman thing, right? Back to this motherfucker, right? If you feel like you, and this is all, again, this is a historical issue, right? I didn't come up with this. It didn't come up in the last 10, 15, 20, 100 years. This was always an issue, right? So with this man and woman issue, let's say the individual does not, they have the body of a man, but they always, this is a horrible woman. It's like that's a terrible woman. But they always felt like a woman, right? But let's say they was a man, right? So at first glance, from the outside, right, what you would assume is that, well, since they a man and a woman, they have both of these worlds to their advantage, right? Because well, he has the body of a man, but he feels like a woman, or she has the body of a woman and feels like a man. Your first thought, I would say, like, let's say like trans, let's say openly bi, I don't even know what, let's say let's use hermaphrodite. We could use that. I don't know how to spell it, but let's just end it off right there. Off the top of my head, this is all I can come up with right now. At first glance, you would think like, oh wow, either they have both paragenitals, or they have they have something in common with both sides, so they should be able to go here and here, and it should be a thumbs up from both sides, right? It should be, there's a horrible thumbs up. This is supposed to be a thumbs up. There's a horrible thumbs up. But it should be like, a thumbs up from both sides, right? When in reality, this person in this position, right, they don't get along. Okay, I don't say they don't get along, but they're not going to get along anywhere near as much as you would think they would with both sides like that, right? Because on the back end, they can go over here. Okay, let's say like this, right? They can go over here and kind of be a man until something falls off, and then they can go back over here and then be a woman, and then the woman ain't gonna like them because they going over there to talk to the man. So they're going over here, and then they're going back, and they're going here and going back and going here. And in this time period, like, neither side is gonna fully accept this motherfucker, right? Nobody's really going to accept him because he's just not fitting this or this, right? So he is now in here, in the middle. Oh, wait, you can't see where I'm at. Wait, hang on. Okay. So he's now in the middle, right? Because he cannot fit this 100%, and he cannot fit this 100%. So what ends up happening is he's stuck in the middle, right? And now what's happened with this whole LGBT shit? Look at what's happened with the LGBT shit. The people who end up stuck in the middle, relatively speaking, you can say some of it is a bit of confusion, whatever the fuck, but whatever the fuck, however you want to label it, they're stuck in the middle, right? They men don't accept them, women don't for real fully accept them, right? So what did they do? They got hyper focused on themselves, right? Without just acknowledging that they simply became something else, right? And owned it, right? That is the issue. The issue with being in the middle, right? The issue with being in the middle is to find content. It's very hard to find being content in the middle, because when you're in the middle, again, you don't know if you should go to one side or the other side, and all this torment is in you to try to find like people like you, right? And in that, they're going to hyper focus. Like I said, with the middle class, what's the middle class going to do? They're the ones out there buying up all the new Lexuses and all this shit like that. Where you go to Richard, like Warren Buffett, that motherfucker ain't driving no damn, that motherfucker is driving a regular car, right? Well, I've seen the motherfucker's house. Warren Buffett does not live in a mansion, right? And I would now that I think about it, I would put it more in the mentality of the person, the mentality of the rich, and the mentality of the poor, and the mentality of the middle class. That middle class mentality, they're the ones out there pushing their expenses to the limit every month intentionally, not because life just fell that way, but like they're intentionally doing that, right? You give them $5,000, they're gonna spend $6,000, right? It's that shit, right? Now everybody's gonna fall into some situation here or there for whatever reason. I'm not trying to say debt is a bad thing or whatever the fuck like that. Life happens, I get that shit, but it's that middle zone is the one who's gonna start hyper fixating on everything, because they really don't have a place of feeling like they belong. Like right now with the trans and all this shit like that, it's gained steam, but now they're hyper focusing on to where now they've hyper fixated so much on it to now is, well, are they a they, them, him, her, whatever the fuck? Like they're hyper focused on it so hard that they don't even realize how awkward that they've become. Right, which is just making it worse, because now in this awkwardness, you're pushing this awkwardness onto everybody else, and many people don't even give a fuck, don't even care. But now this person now cares, and they're going to try to push it harder and harder and harder, and it just makes it more awkward. And what slowly happens is they end up just becoming outcasts, right? Like it's called steam now. But in the end, historically, it's always gone the same way. They're going to end up outcasts, right? Because they're going to set so many limits that nobody's going to want to talk to them anymore, except other people like them. But here's the reason why they end up complete outcasts. Again, is because they never learn how to just accept themselves, right? The acceptance, that's the part that's fucking them up, right? And I'm going to go into the black and white dilemma too. Well, I touched on that. Well, I'll touch on it again. So, okay, yeah, I'll touch on it again. So let's do black. Now with this, right? Yeah, you guys can see. So with this. So the black side has their stereotype of how they walk, talk, whatever the fuck. Even if let's use African Americans, right? Because that's where I'm from and that's what I am. So the African Americans, even though most of any like source material identity has been stomped out of them, right? For whatever, because of the history behind it. But even then, they'll still latch on to create an identity in something else, right? So that they'll have they're still known for something, right? And the white population generally is going to be known for something, whatever the fuck, right? Now, the issue is similar with a kid who's mixed, right? Now, again, this isn't going to be every scenario, but this is generally what ends up happening, right? Let me take a swig of water. I'm trying to rest this iPad on my lap. So with the mixed kid, it comes to in many cases, it comes to a similar identity crisis. Because again, if you never had any real contact with a mixed person, whatever the fuck, it would be easy from the outside looking in to say, oh, well, they're mixed. Let's say they're mixed with black and white. Well, you're black and white, so you can hang out with both sides, right? You ought to be fine. Well, the reality of it is, for those of you who know, in many cases, they never feel accepted by the black or the white side, right? In many cases, they never really, those are X marks. They never really feel like they're one side or another. And what ends up happening is they end up just becoming their own thing, right? But again, since homogeneity, homogeneous humans do what we do, this is still relatively speaking, a severe minority, right? So since they're a minority of the minority, it's harder for them to find others like them, right? So they're stuck again in the middle. But in the reality, in the overall reality, there's nothing wrong with being stuck in the middle, right? But how human minds work is we want to either be one side or another side, right? There's nothing wrong with being right here, but it's our own instincts to go, well, I have to be this or I have to be this, right? That if I'm not either one of those and I'm just lost and confused, right? There's nothing wrong with being lost and confused, at least, for a time, for however long you need. There's nothing wrong. And society really needs to push this. Like, it's okay to just be lost. Now, I think where society needs also a lesson is that nobody should be angry about it, right? There shouldn't be okay. And the anger, yeah, the anger, that's a whole nother topic, and I won't touch on that tonight because that's going to dive too deep into race, and I don't want to make this about race. This is coming back to Czech Republic, right? Of essentially being here, right? So, okay, yeah, well, that was the next one. So let's do west and east, right? And we're going to use Czechia. Czechia is literally smack dab in the middle for pretty much majority of the majority. And this is a slightly different area because now you're talking about an entire country, right? It speaks their own language, whatever the fuck, right? And the location is literally in the middle between the rich and, relatively speaking, the poor, right? I mean, I think was it Slovenia is a relatively is a richer country out east, but when you compare all this shit, like Czechia is going to be pretty much like smack dab in the middle. Let me catch back on some of these comments real fast. 9 out of 10 mixed people grew up with identity issues. Yeah. Yeah. It's like when I'm just catching back up on comments real fast, and I'm gonna dive into this in a minute because it's 8:06 now. My head is fucking killing me, dude. What's up, Oliver? Oh man, hey, I hope you're doing all right, man. I hope things are going all right. Why is it lagging now? I can see myself lagging below my nose. But yeah, I was really interested in because there was a few books on on situations there even back then in 2008, 2009, 2010. Like I was only able to find a few books on incest. It would always be most of the times it'd be the girls writing stories about how they had sex with their brother and shit like that, and the realities of how that plays out. And these are areas. Okay, because after that, I had gotten into to talking to people like this, and when I first started, I worked with a lot more people who went through violence and stuff like that. So I've told stories of early on how I still remember I was working with this one woman who, okay, the realities of sexual abuse is rough. And there's a reason why like Dateline and these motherfuckers, they don't talk about all the shit. They always stop at like, I mean, it was awful, but they always stop at like the awful part, and then that's it. And then like, oh well, he beat her up and raped her, and then that was it, whatever, blah blah blah. Because society can't handle the next part. And many professionals can't handle the next part, right? But it's one of those things. It's fucked up. So I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. It's just humanity, right? So in many times where the person is like molested or raped, it opened their mind up to it, right? And many of the people, they don't even like to talk it. Like what ends up happening a lot of times is they almost see sexual abuse as like this secretive religion. In a way, like it's like they don't want, like kind of like how sex affected me after going to a Christian school. Like I still see sex as dirty. Like I still don't like to really talk about it. I don't like to be around other people who are having sex. I don't even like to talk about sex that much. Like in my regular life, I never bring it up in my regular life. I still see sex as like this dirty, disgusting thing. So for me to even like just vent on YouTube about like, how I do have sex, that was more therapy for me, like to go do that, right? Because I still see it as like this dirty, secretive thing. But weirdly enough, like situations like incest and rape, I would say rape and incest, a lot of times they go hand in hand. depending on the scenario, and the ages and shit like that. And then depending on how it happened, all that stuff. But what would tend to happen? I didn't work with many people like this, but I worked with a few. And I still remember I was working with this one woman. She was like 50, she was in her 50s by now, right? And here's the thing, you would never know who's suffering with this shit. You will never know. You would think some porn stars suffer from it, never suffer from it. You just there's no way to tell. Like absolutely no way to tell. And I remember she told me that that she was into degradation in sex, and she said that she had been raped. Oh, that's yeah. She had went out to a bar, and like it was business as usual. She just went drinking, and she walked, and it was like a stereotypical story. Like she went down like a darker alley. She knew she probably shouldn't went down it, whatever the fuck, and went down it, and this dude had followed her and like pinned her up against the wall and just like made her do whatever and then left, right. And she said like, and she went through the whole motions of feeling real dirty after it. And this is where Dateline will tell you like this part. Like yeah, she felt real dirty and all this shit like that. And she showered for like 2 hours straight, shit like that. Very basic shit. Now the part that Dateline won't tell you, right? The part that psychologists, many psychologists and therapists can't handle this, right? Because it depends on if the client feels comfortable telling you this shit or not. So what many even psychologists and therapists don't know is that, at least, okay, I'll speak from my experience. What tended to happen was after the woman was raped and shit like that, like beat up, raped, whatever the fuck, date rape, whatever the fuck, right? The after effects of that, this particular woman, she kept the clothes dry cleaned perfectly in her closet that she was raped in, right? And then not only that, every year on that same day and time, she would go back to that same spot looking for him, wanting him to come do it again. And she had no idea why. Now, I know why. And it's a brutal thing. Again, most society just can't handle these things, because if you tell society this, then people think, oh, it's okay to rape bitches because they really like it, right? So this is why you can't tell society these things. But well, the reason why she kept going back, because she liked it, right? And now maybe she didn't like it at the time. Like, maybe it's like sushi. You didn't like it at the time, but you went home and thought about it and figured, oh, it wasn't that bad. And now, like, it has to be like this certain way of sex now, right? And nothing else will get her off type of shit. And she went back for years off of that. Years. Years. Not like 2 or 3, like 15, 20. Like, what's up, MGTOW Forever? August line, a lot of people have no idea where they belong. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Oh, T Greeny, yeah, it says the farmers, oh, with the capitalist picture, uh, the older days, everyone was a farmer. Yeah, yeah. Oh, and or okay, but here's the thing: it's not always maybe they liked it. Maybe other scenarios is that well, okay. Here's the real fucked up part about things like this, about like, let's say when you watch an interview, right? I remember I watched an interview about a dude who had killed people in a war, and he was talking about the realities of it, of how he has trouble sleeping at night and all that shit like that. Now, I'm gonna tell you the deeper reason why this happens, right? The scenarios are when people go to war, when people kill people, for whether it was war or it was down the street, right? It doesn't matter what the fuck, right? The deep down reason. Remember that scene in Batman with Robert Pattinson and the Joker? It was a deleted scene in the new Batman movie with the Joker in jail, and Batman went to go to the Joker and wanted the Joker to tell him like what was the Riddler's deal, like why was he like this? And Batman got mad and got up and left because Joker said some real shit. This is real shit. The Joker said, like, you not mad at him. You're mad at yourself because deep down you thought that they deserved it. Is that shit. Okay, maybe not that the person deserved to be killed, but maybe deep down the killer may have actually liked it. Right? See, it's these deeper realities that society doesn't talk about. They're not going to put this on TV, right? Because if they put that on TV, you gonna go off and be like, well, maybe I do like it. I don't know. And maybe I should try it, right? This is why they can't put this shit on the news. Like, only people who worked in these worlds are gonna really know this shit, right? Like, it's a really fucked up scenario. It really is to live with. AD, at show part, can you be like the dudes on facial abuse? Oh, Mo, that's a good question, Mo. What's up, Super? That's a good question. It just depends on the girl. Like, if you just talk to the girl and she's on it, then yeah. Like, okay, remember the one, Mo? Remember that last time, the Black Canary? I told you, because I texted her, like, I was in, like, mid-stroke of, like, watching porn, and I seen her, and I texted her, like, as soon as I seen her, like, mid-stroke. And she fucks, oh, yeah. She's wild. When you go to show part, the big thing is you just have to talk to like that girl and see. Some girls are totally down for it. Some girls you gotta like feel your way to it, like maybe like creep your hand up towards her. If you didn't like, it's not always gonna be like this exact transaction. Sometimes you're just walking around drinking a beer, whatever the fuck, and you stumbled in there type of shit. Like, it's never gonna be like like an internet like a job application. But I say, like, if you're not sure, then like you gotta try like the methods, like, methods I have is like slowly, like maybe like not slowly, but like kind of get closer to her neck every time you like, you're trying to grab her and see if she like shies away or something like that. Because if she shies away, then she doesn't like it, then it's okay. It's not worth it to pursue it, in my opinion. Because European girls are usually much more honest than American women. I gave you guys pointers last time about how to spit on women. Like, first just start licking their back or something like that with a lot of saliva, then just start spitting on like their back or something like that. And if she still goes for it, then she'll usually be okay with it anywhere. This is a real quick thing I want to talk about too. So how the fuck do you play? I did not know that this was a big issue, and I talked about this a long time ago. Finding a woman's clit. I had no idea that this was a big issue. So how I learned about a woman's clit was through like I'm skipping frames. I'm hooked up to Wi-Fi and I'm still lagging sometimes. So how I learned about a woman's clit was, I remember I was watching porn and I watched Nina Hartley. Nina Hartley, it was this older woman in porn, and she was sitting on the couch, and it was like one of those porn clips where it was like the whole movie. So they sat down with her on the couch and was talking to her, right? And I don't even know why they even asked her, but they got her on the topic of talking about clits, and she goes, "Listen, man, it's so simple." And this time I just stopped and listened to her whole, rant. And she goes, "Yeah, like all you do, all you do, I wish I could put a picture up so I could show you. But you know how it's going to come to like a V shape at the top and the front? You just put your mouth in there and you just, not like that, but like cover your teeth up with your lips, right? And then just do your tongue like in the shape of like that, like, or feel around till you feel like any type of little hard spot. That's her clit, right? And Nina Hart, like, I listened to her and I paid attention to her, right? I just did exactly what she said. Once you do that, like, because the hard part is like trying to just get it with your finger, because like just like that is just too hard. You can fuck that up too easily, in my opinion, to get her like fully aroused. So in my opinion, like, it's easier to just do it with your tongue first, or just do it with your tongue the whole time. And she said another area where guys mess up is if they find a clit, like, they always want to go too hard on it, and like if she starts to get like turned on, then they want to like dig in harder with their tongue. Like, they'll just do the same thing. Once she starts to go, like, because you're gonna know when you hit it, because her legs are gonna twitch and she's gonna go or some shit like that, or she'll like instinctively want to grab your head and like force it in there harder, kind of thing. Like, it's gonna be your instinct. She's not gonna be able to fight it. And then once you just lick it, maybe with the same pressure. Don't like put more pressure on it. Like, that's where she said a lot of guys fuck up. So I listened to the whole rant she had and just did that. And after that, I never had a problem with playing with a woman's clit. Never had a problem with it. Never had a problem. Now, some women, it'll be a bigger hard. It's like just this little bead. It feels like a little bead, right? And some women will be bigger, some women will be smaller. But when you find that little heart, because she said, okay, what resonated with me was she said you have to treat it like it's like a woman's penis. Like that sounds gay as fuck, but that was exactly what it was. Like that's exactly what the fuck got me through with the first girlfriend I had after that. And after that, dude, once you play with a woman's clit, dude, like you're gonna have her forever. You're gonna have you're gonna have her for once you hit a woman's once you play with a woman's either with a now I don't use toys. I don't use many vibrator toys. I just don't get it. I don't get vibrators. But once you get a woman's clit and you get it good to the point where like she's either like screaming or she's saying shit that she don't say normally or she's like instinctively like grabbing you type of shit. Once you get to that point, she will never let you go. Right? Because so many guys get that shit wrong. And that's a whole side rant. I have a secret for you, gentlemen. Never go downtown. She will not respect you or treat you the same if you should treat her better. Okay, I'll say this. If you do go down on her, you have to do it. Like, if you do it and you do it first, like, if you don't do it, like, it's like okay, it's like a blowjob, right? A random whore on the street, if she just sucks your dick in 2 seconds, right? Now, if she sucks the fuck out of your dick, then you will keep her on speed dial, right? But if she's just like a regular blowjob, nothing really that great, you'll save her for a slow night. Something like it's the same thing with women, dude. It's the same way, same shit. You just have to know what you're doing. Don't try to like tongue fuck her pussy. Like none. That's just shit that like as men we instinctively think will work, but it doesn't work. Well, I mean, maybe I'm sure some girl maybe like getting tongue fucked in her pussy, right? Some bitches may like it, but in my general experience, that was like you gotta get her clit, and then play with that G spot shit. You don't have to have a fucking 10-inch dick for it. You just gotta curl this shit up and just like not yank up on it, but like you gotta get a motion going. And once you get that shit going, yeah, dude, she's gonna love you forever. But so many guys get that shit wrong. And I honestly had no idea how much. I had no idea just how bad a lot of guys are with sex. I had no idea. SA is one of the ultimate displays of desire. The man is willing to risk being killed or jailed to have. That's what I don't know what SA mean. SA. But yeah, to answer your question, Mo, yeah, it's just down to the girl, man. It's down to now. Here's the thing: what you'll find with some girls too, with everything I just said. Here's something you'll find: like some girls, they've never had a guy do it. So like actually play with her clit well or play with her G spot well, anything like that. They've never had a guy who knew what he was doing. So if you do it, it'll be too much for her senses, and she'll like jump off because it's just too, she doesn't even know how to handle it, right? So I've come across that too. But yeah. But no, back to your question, Mo. It just depends. You just have to talk to the girl. Some girls are into it, some girls aren't. Some girls are just like straight fucking leave. Other girls want to sit there and talk and laugh and all that shit like that. It just depends on the girl and the chemistry with you and that girl. Like so, for myself, I may have a different chemistry than you would have with the girl in there, right? And you may be, because y'all just clicked and I didn't, right? Like you just never know. It's just one of those things. So it says, chill pills. That's what Patrice said after finding the clit. Choose. Yeah, it's just the rhythm. Yeah, chill pill. What's up, chill pill? Yeah, but and Nina Hart. I just follow Nina Hartley. She said, yeah, when she starts to feel and she's getting aroused, don't go in harder. Don't do anything. Don't try to over. More is not necessarily better. Right, just keep doing the same thing and just let her ride it. Unless she tells you to do it, then don't do it. At that, once she's like genuinely feeling pleasure from it, like from being, from playing with her clit, unless she's like instinctively telling you to do it, in many cases, I would say just don't do it. Just to keep the same speed, same rhythm, same pressure, and that's her spot right there, right? Whereas, because like with men, we like to hit shit and bash shit and hit it harder, and all that, and no, it's not the same the other way. In theory, it sounds good that yes, please her, she pleases you. In reality, it works like she has to please you, and you don't think if she's second thought, you won't have no woman forever. You want proof you had ex-girlfriends. Key this term. I'm having a hard time reading it, probably because I have a fucking headache, DMG. But I'm having a hard time reading that shit. Ivy says, AD, once I met a girl on IG who got raped in a disco by two men, even got pregnant because of that. Guess what? She had rape fantasies afterwards. At the time we texted, so even those girls who experienced it is still in the rape. Yeah, Ivy. But yeah, these are real. These are real things that okay. These are real scenarios that women will not talk out loud about until Beyonce makes it cool to talk about out loud, right? Until Beyonce talks about it out loud, and because women, they have to follow something. But yeah. But the thing is, I'm not saying like, everyone, because the issue is like, no, like don't just go out there and just rape women. The reason why they can't put this on the news and shit is because people go out there and be like, yeah, I should rape bitches because they like it. Like, no, don't do that. No. No. There's other scenarios like I'm thinking of that movie, but these are real scenarios too, where the Christian Bale movie, uh, the Blue Moon Night or some shit like that. I can't think of it, but it was a newer one on Netflix. I've been wanting to see that for about a year before it came out too. And I'm gonna spoil it, but his daughter had got raped, and she ended up killing herself because of it. Because some people, they'll lose their identity because somebody just took something from them and they don't know what to do, and she just jumped off a fucking mountain in front of him. That movie, like I could recommend it if you like slow move, but even it just wasn't as good as I thought it was gonna be. It was on. It should still be on Netflix. It was Christian Bale, like Blue Moon Night or some shit like that. I can't think of the name of it. So let's get back to this. So back to the East. Well, let me read this donation real fast. Thanks a lot, Snipe Feather. Joker words cut Batman deeper than any blade. Oh yeah, and that deleted scene. Yeah, it got him mad. He got up and walked out. Yeah. So yeah, back to this. So with the East and West, and this also is due logistically, right? Because Czech is like literally like here, and then if I remember correctly, Germany's like up here. France is like down here. You got like Belgium and all that shit in there, and all in here, and then you have Poland up here. Yeah, Slovakia here, Austria here. So like Czech Republic has no like they're just like taken over by everybody, and and they're in the middle, right? So and like I said, Eastern Europe is, well, this is like technically Central Europe like this, but you'd be better off just call it Eastern Europe for real. Um 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 the issue with Czech Republic is that since they had no real access to water or anything like that, they couldn't really they couldn't get to be, like seriously independently strong, right? They just couldn't do it. They couldn't keep up with Portugal, Spain, Britain, Poland, Germany. They just couldn't keep up with these other countries, right? Because the countries had access to that water, right? So Czech Republic, they like whatever Czech Republic was essentially like out of a family of five, Czech Republic was like the youngest child who got all the hand me downs, right? Because they couldn't go out there and do nothing. You know what I mean? But on top of that, you add in logistics. Well, and I've always been open about this. I think that Czech Republic is being paid off by Western Europe just to keep the Czechs out of there, right? Because if you don't do that, that's what happens with North America and Mexico. You get that line that horrifically cuts off, and now you have severe immigration problems, right? That line happened. That Mexico and North America, that line separating them. See, because America never went down there and just gave them a Mesoamerica Union payoff bill. So now they risking lives to get across that shit. because America left Mexico out to fucking rot, right? So in my opinion, I think the West did that is essentially is just an immigration payoff. I've always stuck by that opinion. Some people agree, some people don't. But that if it wasn't started like that, it definitely damn sure ended that way, right? So with the issue with Czech Republic is since they're seriously like in the middle, right? Since they're legitimately in the middle, like yeah, they are getting, technically what's like is that the euro? I always forget how to write the euro. Technically, they're getting this from the West, and this is confusing them into thinking that they're friends, right? This is confusing them, and they're friends with open arms, right? He's supposed to be hugging the West, right? But but in reality, like the West they not really on that. They looking over here, right? Because they trying to do something else with their time, but they coming over here because they trying to run away from this, right? They trying to run away. That's a horrible. He's supposed to be running from the east. They trying to run away from that shit, right? Right. So in this dilemma, majority of their time is always spent trying to identify with the West as much as they can, like, on a political level, as much as they can, whereas the West don't really want them like that, right? Because they don't walk and talk like them because they just on a whole different mental program. And you could really say like the North with Norway and all that shit too, but it's the same shit. Like they don't really they not accepted like that, right? The only time they really gonna fuck with Czech Republic is if it's to drink beer or fuck they bitches, and after that they gonna be gone. Perfect example. Matter of fact, let me pull this. Let me see if I can find this. I still remember there was an article about coming to there. I still remember they published an article. Maybe I could find it. Is this it? Oh, but you guys can't see what I'm looking at. Hang on, let me put this. Oh, no, that's me. Like this. Okay, yeah. So, yes, because when COVID happened, there was a large amount of German guys who would drive the Czech Republic to fuck, the Czech hookers because they would fuck for cheaper. And when COVID happened, they stopped coming, right? Because everybody was afraid he was gonna get sick. But all this was like all this was in the same shit. I think it was actually a Czech article that I read. It was this German state lifts coronavirus ban on prostitution. That was just a really weird time. But yeah, so if anybody's curious, you can just Google that. But yeah, so what ends up happening is, again, Czech Republic is stuck in the middle because anything they can do to not associate with the East, they'll do it. Because they're trying to get in with the West, but the West don't want them because they don't walk like them, so they're stuck in the fucking middle. Right? And then what makes it worse is that, okay, as far as a country wise was going, like, and I'm not faulting Czech Republic. They essentially had to do it. They had to do this. They had to essentially what they did was they had to go out and fight whatever war on whoever side they thought was gonna win at the time, so they can pretty much just get absorbed into that. I mean, for some reason it's lagging when I put it on me all the way. Let me just do this. So, but when they did that, like, everybody knew what they were doing. Like, nobody fell for it. Like, everybody knew they were just trying to side with the winning team because there was nothing they could do, right? But side with just like was just side with the winning team. Same thing happened in the Vietnam War. Same shit happened there. The was it Han? I always pronounce it wrong. Hanai, whatever the fuck. If I remember correctly, I could be wrong. But that one country, they were just siding with whoever was just gonna win at the time because it was just nothing they could really do. Once you become landlocked, or your ports are taken over by somebody, you're done. You can't do anything, right? And the issue is Czech Republic ended up in the middle, right? Now, how you beat this whole middle, being stuck in the middle, is just own what you are and build yourself up from knowing what you are, right? That would beat the trans thing. That would beat the mixed race. I believe that would beat the mixed race dilemma. It'd beat the rich poor dilemma. If they just because it doesn't take a rocket scientist, especially with the rich poor scenario. For the middle class literally has all the tools it needs to build up and actually do some damage, right? But they ended up breaking off into this independent, completely independent shit. And in that process, they can't grow because guess what? Now you got to have a better car than your neighbors got. Now you got to have better shoes than your neighbors got. And if you don't, now you losing because now you going against them, right? So I want to say, the reason I got Keynes on my head because I just got done reading a book on how they tried to attack him, and this is an area where I agree with Keynes, but they really tried to bash him in this economics book. Is that they tried because Keynes said that he said that the middle class and the poor consume more than the rich, right? In terms of consumerism shit, not like pollution and all that, but in terms of like strictly consumerism, that the poor, relatively speaking, the middle class consume more. And I agree with him. And nobody else did that I read in that book did. Everybody else tried to bash him for that. And I agree with him on that, right? Because it's the little things that cause for consumerism, right? Every time you buy something and you had to make it individually wrapped, individually packaged, individually for you, that costs money, right? And here's a perfect example on why I love humanity for this, because I think it's pathetic, but I just love how pathetic we are, right? As humans, like I love just how naturally pathetic we are, right? Here's a great exercise for you. If you're at home, here's a great exercise. Go into your Wi-Fi, into your available Wi-Fi, and look at all the other people's Wi-Fis that you can hook up to. But guess what? They blocked, right? You motherfuckers can't even agree on just having one internet plan. How the fuck you gonna go out there and compete with a government? You dingbats. These fucking neo fucking socialists and all this shit. You motherfuckers can't even agree on no fucking Wi-Fi. How you gonna go out there and compete with the fucking government, dude? You fucking it's fucking mother. Where is these motherfuckers can't even agree on on keeping what 2 Wi-Fis open but no, y'all everybody will go off and buy their own Wi-Fi and spend 40 times as much for it because you got to have your own because y'all competing. These humans can't even unite. All these motherfuckers talking about America done this, America done that. Look, holler at me when y'all can at least figure out Wi-Fi. Holler at me with that. A Wi-Fi. And this is the delusion. I think here's the thing. I think in economics speaking, I think most people are just so confused with reality. I think motherfuckers are just so motherfuckers have everything to say about the UK or whatever the fuck like that, but these the same motherfuckers who couldn't figure out how to put toilet paper in 3 McDonald's in their neighborhoods, right? Like, or keep their own bathroom clean. Like, but this motherfucker know how to run the country. Like, think about it's like when you really think about the world, man, and like and just humans and our history and what we've done and what we're doing now, I think it is fucking sick, dude. I think it's fucking pathetic. I think humans, there's a large percentage of the human population who truly believes that McDonald's just grew out the ground, that Tesco just grew, started, somebody planted Walmart seeds and a Walmart just grew out the ground like that, and we need, and we just deserve it, right? Just because we just us, right? Like the reason why I love economics and I hate economics is because with just a little bit of insight and reality, you can see just how dumb we really are. Either dumb or intelligent. The very few parts of the population are actually intelligent, but most of us are just like entitled brats. And it doesn't matter how old you are. You can be 14 or you can be 114. There's people who are walking around three times my age. Well, not three times. I'm 37, 120. But there's people walking around 80 years old with the mentality of a fucking child when it comes to the realities of this shit. Right? Mad about like that shit is crazy. Oh, I got a donation. Yo, thanks, DT. A bit off topic. Yeah, let me read this. I'm trying to replay it. It says, oh, can you guys not see that? Oh, the screen's up. Hang on. Oh, shit, not that. Here we are. Let's replay it. Oh, it's all fucked up. Oh, because I moved this shit. Hang on. Actually, let's try to move it down here. Let's see where it comes up now. Here we are. Well, that's a little better. So DT, thanks for the $2, man. It says, a bit off topic. So many escorts I've seen tell me they go to clubs, and when I told them I didn't, they said I wasn't missing anything, and that this is funny to me because that means guys are simping for a chance at sex and spending more money than I did. Oh yeah, yo, DT, yes, DT, yeah. Women know this shit, dude. Like I told you a story a while back where I had these, because I don't like having threesomes, but I experimented for a while, so I'd get two girls. And I remember one time after we had finished, the one girl, she said, like, I don't understand, like, why are you coming here? Like, you have a good personality, you dress nice, you look like you have a good job, you're a foreigner, you're exotic looking, you're not ugly. She's like, I don't know. She said, like, I don't understand, like, why are you coming here? And her friend, and her friend was sitting on the bed, and she just starts like to giggle, and she goes, oh no, this is easier for him to just come here and pay because we're more expensive out there in the world, like in the normal world, right? Like women know, like every exchange like that, every exchange of getting free food and all that shit in the context of everything. Look, women are some of the best accountants when it comes to interpersonal relations, right? Women are the best accountants when it comes to this. She knows exactly who she's getting what, where, who, what, and where from, right? Right? Now on the back end, like with what DT stated, yeah. It on the back end, women just love attention. Like women can always use more attention, right? See, as men, like in my opinion, as men, once we get older, we don't necessarily need like anywhere near the same amount of attention. But women can always use it, like always use this. Like, and the weird part is like when women get to be like, like 80, 90, they still put on makeup and still want to be told they look nice. Like, yo, you are 80 years old. You are old. It's over. Like, but she's still like women. They need it, dude, because their ego, like they need that shit for their own ego. It really is a sick ego that they have. But but yeah, no, when yeah, I agree, DT. Yeah, she knows. Every woman knows this. Every woman knows. Now, some women may be a little mad about it because a man just has that option to go out there and do it. But no, every woman knows this. Every woman is fully aware. Every woman knows that the club is just you buy a bitch a drink and hope she, dances with you, then hope, and she rations out her attention. It's silly shit. She knows. No, no man is fooling her. All right. She knew what it was before she even thought to get dressed. What she got to what she has to go walk into that club, and how she has to act, and what she's gonna have to put up with before she's gonna want to eventually leave. She's already thought it through 8 times before she even thought to start getting ready, and how she's gonna have to sell this to men. She already knows, right? But again, I think these are lessons that men won't get unless they go hang out with hookers. And this is why I say use prostitutes as an education, right? You learn a lot more if you just talk to her and ask her questions. Like okay, now some may just be cunts. I get that. Every hooker's not gonna be a great person to talk to. But when you do find, your 1 or 2 or 3 who you can talk to, just ask them these questions that you may even have for me, or you may have for entrepreneurs in cars, or you may have for, I don't know, Fresh and Fit. The questions that you have for these men, ask these hookers this. Go pay a hooker to just talk to her and ask her the questions. Like before you go pay a therapist, pay Fresh and Fit, or pay me, I would say take that money and go get a hooker. And so now you can get your dick sucked, 1, and then 2, if you get your dick sucked fast enough, now you can talk to the bitch and actually ask her deeper questions. Right? Ask her all these questions that you're too afraid to ask and all this shit. Ask her. Because trust me, dude, she's a hooker. She's heard, seen, drank, swallowed it all. All right? She's swallowed everything already. All right? AD, she also started to prostitute herself to get the money to buy a pill to abort the child she had. Word up. RedPill made me hate women. Am I wrong? Not what? Yeah. You wrong temporarily. You wrong. The God. You wrong temporarily, because a part of you still thinks that because you okay. Just like how I said earlier, like when Batman got mad at Joker and he got up and left, you going through that same area right now of realizing your deeper reality. Like if I had to guess, if anybody were to say a statement like "Red Pill made me hate women," it's because you still struggling with feeling like you deserve a woman just because you and whatever you had in your mind was supposed to work with no training, no help, and no assistance. And a part of you knows that it was wrong, but you don't want to give it up because it was all you really knew from the beginning. And most men go through this phase. Like everybody goes through that what's it called, red pill rage. At some point, like you're gonna go through it, dude. Like it's just part of it. You have to. And again, like I said, it's all and these things are harder because I was talking with my girl about this 2 or 3 nights ago. We talked about it. And I told her like, look. 20-year-old guys, like, okay, and I'll be real with y'all, and this is going to be a relatively controversial topic, given, my demographic on this channel, but I'm going to say it. When I went to the Institute of Economics, this is one of the few libraries that's actually filled with people, right? Most of the libraries are usually completely empty or pretty much empty, right? So the Institute of Economics in Prague, out there, is Žižkov. So if you want to Google it, Žižkov, you can catch the number 9 tram to go get to it. It's not far from the city center. I think it's about 2 or 3 stops from the main Hlavní Město. Hlavní, I can't think of the name now. Yeah, so I go in there, and this time, like, it clicked on me. Like, when I went in there, like, I see why women, 20-year-old girls, girls in their early 20s, late teens, I see why they're not impressed with 20-year-old guys. Like, it really clicked on me this time I went in. This is about a week ago. Because I just finished that other book about the American economy and why it's going, and how and why it's going down. But because I got that book that time. But it really hit me. Because when you go in there and when I went in there and seen them, Like, okay, you also got to remember, I'm in Europe, so the dressing styles and patterns, people care more about how they dress over here. So it's not going to be completely identical to the U.S. because again, the like people are far more into fashion over here, right? And on top of that, this is an international school, so you got like beautiful bitches from all over the world coming here, right? And you got guys coming from all over the world to come study at Charles University. So it's definitely a much more diverse crowd to go sit around. You don't know what they gonna at least speak English or Czech, one of the two, but you don't know where they gonna be from, right? So when I went in there, it really hit me like I get it. Like these motherfuckers got to get the fuck up and do something, right? Because I go in there first of all, when you go to where all the guys are sitting, it literally smelled like bo, like a fucking wall of bo, just like body odor, just fucking hit me, like while I'm walking in there, and on top of that, like how do I put this, man? Because it's a way you can do it to make it work. Even with body odor, it's a way you can do it to make it work. But they're just kid. Like men are just not ready at 20. We're just not ready in those ages, dude. Like there's not much about most men to be desirable at 20, right? As a man, right? There's just not much about it. Whereas you see the girls in there, like the girls, they usually try to stay away from the guys, and I get it because the guys in there, they're smelling like shit. They're smelling like sweat or like body odor. Then on top of that, they're dressed like shit. And on top of that, they're sitting there playing like a computer game or, some shit on their laptop or something like that. And then they smell like shit and they're dressing like shit. It's like, I get it. Like more pussy for me. I get it now. like I ain't you ain't even a threat, 21-year-old dude who could just came to college. Because this 21-year-old girl with these tight pants on and look like she know how to clean her face. Oh, she got all she has. But here's the thing though. And I told my girl this. In the reality, the women don't do much better intellectually speaking. Intellectually speaking, the women, if anything, they're probably worse in a lot of ways, right? But again, the only thing that gets women over is that they have that costume of young woman. That's the only thing that's getting women over in these ages. Like that's literally it for the majority of them. That's the only thing is they're wearing that costume of woman, right? Whereas a man, that costume of man is relatively nothing unless you got some swagger to back it up. You got some determination in your eyes, like you got some focus to do something in your eyes, like just that costume of man is just not enough. Like I can understand. And for the few younger guys who looked like they was about something, they end up just kind of like they were just kids. Like as men, we're just not ready at 19, 20, 21, 22. Like we're just not ready. This whole kind of look of like being just like not knowing what's going on and all that shit like that. Like all of that. It's all these little things. Like the look in your eye of not knowing what's going on and all this shit. You'll figure it out all in time. But when you're 20, dude, it's just I can see it. I got it. I completely got it. Completely understood it. Yeah. Because again, for a young girl, all the young girl has to do is just take a bath, don't stink, maybe put on a little makeup, and her costume of woman will do all the footwork for her. She doesn't have to do anything else after that, right? Nothing. Not even initiate a conversation. Just sit there and exist. Whereas a man, see, now you got to initiate a conversation. You have no experience doing that. On top of that, in this context, they're sitting there smelling like shit in relation to Europe, dressing like shit, and they're just young kids. They just don't know. Like, so I get it. I totally get it. I get why. I told my girl, I said, yeah, it hit me. I get it. But then here's the other part, and this is where she got mad and she couldn't talk about it. It's because she goes, yeah. So, but why is it that when guys get older, they want younger girls? And I said, because that's the best you ever gonna look in your entire life, because because you age like a car. And then she got mad and didn't want to. She goes, I know, yeah, I don't talk about it. Because that's the best she's ever. That's the woman. That's literally like, what hurts, man. I'm gonna get off here in a minute, but you know what hurts is like also what's really starting to hit me. I was watching how you say her name, Audrey Hepburn, whatever the fuck her name is. I was watching later interviews with her, and it really started hitting me too. is that okay, earlier today I rode the bus. I had to ride the bus. They'll get this other Amazon Echo for the other room, which I don't like, and I'm probably gonna. But the dude seemed real cool, so I think he'll give me the money back for it. He's like, yo, like if you don't like it, just hit me up. I'll give you the money back, whatever. And I don't like because I think the speaker is the Amazon Echo, I think second generation, and the speaker is just not good compared to this other one I got. So I had to ride the bus out there, and I'm seeing the girls just getting on the bus are like model quality. Like they're 21, 22, just gorgeous, right? Not a flaw wrong with them. Like not enough. Like they're just, and I couldn't like I was like the girl. She was on the bus in the back, and I was sitting up in the front because there wasn't no tram. Because I hate riding buses. I didn't grow up riding buses, but there was no tram or underground train that went out there, so you had to ride the bus. And I didn't want to drive. And I had on sunglasses, right? So she couldn't tell I was staring at her. And she was on the whole other end of the bus, right? Just completely gorgeous. And like that was when other thoughts in my head just started to hit like, wow, like women are like so beautifully magical at like 18 to like 25. Like it's just magical beauty when especially when they're attractive. Like it's just something else that's just like like Patrice O'Neal said, 20. It's just it really is. And it's just so sad, like how they all just it's so sad how they put all their value in their looks on top of that and who they think they better who they'll think they're better than in a dating market. But it's inevitable that all of them lose it, right? And they just age like most will age terribly, and it's just it really is just like a sad, sad, sad thing to watch, and you just try not to think about it because they really are just so naturally beautiful. Like when they're like, because most of the girls walking around Prague, they're gonna be in shape, dude. They're gonna be because you're walking everywhere. People don't drive like there's a lot of people who drive, but there's people don't drive here like they drive in America. So you're walking a lot more. You're hopping on, you're going up and down flights of stairs, getting on trams, getting on trains, whatever. You're moving a lot more. So all they got to do is throw on a pair of leggings, dude. And just because she has a certain look to her, she thinks she's better in the dating market than this dude who's doing this and that dude who's doing that, right? And it's a sad and also disgusting thing too, because also it's like the girl, okay, let's use the girl as an example on the bus today, right? If you ask her what guys would you find attractive, what guys do you find attractive, whatever the fuck, what guys wouldn't you date, right? Then ask her, okay, why wouldn't you date this guy, right? And a lot of times girls just flat out say like, I can do better, right? Some shit like that. Right? I've had that happen with me, right? She genuinely thinks that she's, better than, a certain quality of guy. And so then my next question is okay, why exactly are you better than this man who may be working a great job and, whatever the fuck, right? Why are you better than him? Speaking to the girl, right? And it's really and this is where I come back to women are extremely shallow when it comes to this, right? The only reason why most women will think they're better than any man is because she thinks that her butt looks cute in a pair of pants. That's literally it. That's literally. She thought she was cute because her butt fit into these pair of pants, right? That's it. She don't care about education, none of that. Education, earning potential, her education, her earning potential, unless she, got lucky and got to a right family who pushed her in that direction, But outside of that, no, she doesn't care about that shit. From her perspective, because that's the man's job is to do all that. It's really sad. And again, I was watching Aubrey Hepburn, I don't know how you say her name, but she was talking about how she really admired Michelle Pfeiffer. And she thought Michelle Pfeiffer was just like sexy and very talented and all that, but the Hepburn girl, she aged pretty well, she got older, but I think she aged well, But it's still just sad to watch like how women can just be so just so amazingly naturally beautiful, and they just like it's inevitable, like they're gonna lose it. It just, God, that like when you really think about it. And so here's the other part that I find like disgusting, right? When I'm dealing with a woman, the number one thing that is just an immediate turn off, and women will say the same thing about men. The number one thing that's an immediate turn off is insecurity, right? Because and not like from my professional sessions, like because this is what I do for a profession. But I'm talking like when I'm out in the world and I'm just like just hanging out in the world type shit, like just it's just a regular old human. I'm not like working or anything like that. Like when I'm dealing with a woman, the number one thing that's disgusting is prolonged insecurity. I say that because everybody gets insecure about something, but um platypus dreams, what did that have to do with Aubrey Hepburn? Is it because she aged and she just got old, and it's just hard. Like, and it's just these deeper thoughts about the scenario starting to hit, how it just sucks how they just age, and it's just nothing she can do about it. Like, because she went. Let me see if I can bring up pictures. Because then it just starts this whole awkward part of, oh wait, it's up right now. Because then it just starts this whole awkward part of, well, you have to tell me I'm beautiful. And she know good and well she's not beautiful anymore. It just starts this whole awkward, like forcing it to save her self-esteem. And it just get more awkward and more awkward. How you spell her name? I think it was in Breakfast at Tiffany. Because I've always heard that movie Breakfast at Tiffany's. And I don't get it. Maybe I should. I'm going to try to watch it again. But for her time, you gotta remember, this is like fucking like what night, like what, like the, I don't know when this shit came out, but it's an older movie. For her time, like, she was a fucking doll. Oh, you can't see it. My big ass head's in the way. Hang on, let me move this. Let me move my big ass head. There we go. Yeah, like, so for her time, like, she was like, she was, just a well put together, you know, 1961. It's probably not like the best looking girl, but she's just, she walks down the street, like, you don't remember her, right? And then what's this? Because I'm gonna try to watch this movie again, because I tried watching it a long time ago. I just didn't get it. I'm gonna try to watch this movie again. Matter of fact, I'm gonna watch it tonight. Let me see. But she just got older, and it's just nothing. I mean, and she still don't even look that bad as an older woman, but she's just older now. Like, it's just nothing she can really do with that shit, right? I mean, like, again, she looks great potentially for her age, right? As an older fucking white woman, she looks great, right? I'm not trying to roast her, but it's that thing. It's like that natural beauty from, like, well, this is makeup too, so. Where was that one picture at that she was like sitting in a room? Where is it? Like something like this. Like, see, like that. Oh, wait, where did it just go? It was just right here. Here it is. See, like that, just natural, just sitting there like that. I mean, like, just sitting there like that is its own, it's its own type of just it's just her. Like, she doesn't have to do, she just woke up. Well, now there's probably a little bit of makeup on there, but you get what I'm trying to say. And then, like, outside of her power, it just goes from that to, like, her face is sagging, her skin sagging. She's just older. It's just nothing she can really do about it. And she's just stuck. So then it ends up in this whole awkward phase of, like, now you got to tell her she's beautiful and all this. Like, why the fuck do I have to tell you that you are beautiful? You know what I mean? Like, you know what this is. Like, what? Like, stop. But again, now I'm a slightly different person with this, right? Because I don't need to be told thank you. I don't have to be told, you look nice. Like matter of fact, me and my girl was thinking, like, and we really sat down and thought. I said, "Have you ever told me thank you?" I don't even know. Like, I legitimately don't even. My thing is just the action, like, right? Like, if I do something, like, okay, here's my thing. I don't have to be told thank you. I don't have to be told you look nice. I don't have to be told you're handsome, whatever the fuck. Like in the world by bitches, women, anywhere, whatever. I don't have to be told any of this. I'm totally fine with zero compliments. Um, but my thing is, once it gets to the point with me where I have to now sit down and stop and think, okay, what was the exchange in this, relationship with this person, and do I feel like they're taking way too much now? Like, that's the part where I'm like, okay, now it's time to stop. It's time to cut motherfuckers out. Blah blah blah. That's when I hit that. Now also you got to remember, I have a kid now, and I work with a lot of people. So sometimes people are just gonna fall through the cracks. It may not necessarily be that every single case, but I've noticed the only thing with me that I do pay attention to is if somebody just seems to just start taking way too much than they deserved, and kind of kept doing it and made a habit out of it type of shit. That's when I start to like sit down and be like, wait a minute. No, this ain't right. But everything else, I don't care. I don't have to be told thank you, all that. Some people do. And so I really can't speak for them. Because you hear, so I'll be rich. So here's my person. I mean, I'm gonna read this in a minute. Thanks for the donation. Um, um, I forgot my train of thought because I read a bit of sentence. Where was I going with that? I can't remember where I was going with it. So let me read this. Yo, thanks for the donation, DT. If it's not about the male's personality, is it worth dating a guy? I don't want to be identified by my job. I'm 24, by the way. Well, at some point, society's always going to judge you based off of what you do, right? That's just a part of it, man. Like, society and other parts is just like your swagger, right? And we talked about this last night too. As a friend of mine, he doesn't do the same. He doesn't have the same lifestyle I have. So I had to explain. Okay, because so for example, like she's getting older, right? And she's trying to find a new dressing style because I'm pretty much on her to find a new dressing style because she's getting older, right? What you wear at 20, you don't really get away with at 30 anymore, and what you wore at 30, you really, pretty much 35 and up, you can pretty much be safe. But like, and that's a big transition period from like, from let's say like 14, 15 to like 2021. I say 14, 15, pretty much. Yeah, just say like let's say 2021, and then after 2021, you can pretty much wear the same shit until you start hitting later 20s and 30s, and it's time to switch it up again. I say pretty much by mid 30s, the dressing style you have is pretty much gonna be you forever, right? Now for men I think can get away with a lot more for whatever reason, but women have a much harder time with this time period because okay, let's use her for example. See, when she was, see when she looked like this. Hang on, let me make it. See, when Audrey Hepburn looked like this, it didn't matter what she wore. She could have wore a dirty automotive oil filled T-shirt and just put it on, and somebody be like, "That's a good looking bitch in a dirty T-shirt," right? She didn't have to really do anything, right? No matter what, she woke up and just and was that. Right? Right? And she lived her entire life like that up until she starts hitting 30, 35, right? Right? So then when she starts to get older and that skin starts to sag and all that, see now she's actually she can't walk out there dressing like she's 20, like a 20-year-old girl anymore, right? Right? She can't go. I mean, she can, and she'll still attract a certain group. But mentally, a lot of times, she'll want to develop and grow to get higher. Not higher, but she'll just mature in a different way, right? A lot of times, most people are going to hit that point. Now, one area where I think a lot of people hit that point and a lot of people fall off is the walk of life, the profession that you had, the walk of life, your history, and your swagger. So I use myself versus a guy I knew when I was doing biotech, because I think about him from time to time. Real good guy. He was a real good guy to talk to. As a matter of fact, he had the same dressing style as my friend. Kind of wore this like, these army fatigue pants, shirt. Didn't really care about the quality of his shoes, anything like that. If anything, he was more like an outside camper type of dude. Which, like I said, I think he's a great. Both of them were great guys in my life, right? But this is in this category, this is what he was. So back when I was in biotech, I had this friend of mine. I can't remember his name. Terrible with names, but I remember he hit a point where he wanted to grow in his dressing style, right? And I remember he came into the lab and he had a big collision, right? He had a huge collision with his culture, his mentality, and his dressing style, mixing with the lab, right? And it just collided, and it was just a mistake, right? I remember because he tried to come into the lab wearing dress shoes, dress pants, and you could tell that he had tucked in his shirt, but he got real insecure about it, so he untucked it because again it didn't match his culture. But he tried. Don't get me wrong. He did a good job for trying. And he untucked the shirt, then he unbuttoned it and let the shirt but it was on top of that, it didn't fit well. He was built like me, but you can tell he bought it at like Walmart. And so for those of you who don't know, if you're a skinny dude, if you buy clothes out of Walmart, you're gonna know it came out of Walmart because it's not gonna be any type of like tailored, okay, so this is like a Hugo Boss jacket, right? Honestly, it's a little small, but I use this more as like a leisure jacket, right? But it's gonna have more of a you're gonna see more curl, like a more tailored fit, right? But if I were to shop at Walmart, it would just be a fucking box, right? It looked terrible in terms of style, right? And trying to explore and shit. And I remember I remember people asked him, and he said, "Yeah, I thought I'd just try something new out," and he was just like all confused, right? It was really, he tried. Let's just say that. And so I always had wore like some type of blazer or something like that. I didn't know why I started. But I remember, so I told my girl, I said, okay, I was talking about my friend. I said, okay, because we were talking about her and dressing, and she's trying to find new styles of dress to mature, to go along with her age. Now, the reason why I can go out there and wear a Donna Karen suit is because my lifestyle, my culture is a white collar, sit at a desk. I can make all my money off of a laptop. I'm not going anywhere picking up heavy shit and all that. So this fits my culture. I can walk around in confidence like this, and it's just me. And I told her, okay, now imagine a friend of mine walking in the room with a Donna Karen suit. How would he look? And she literally says he would look like a clown because it doesn't fit his work style, his lifestyle, whatever the fuck, right? So a lot of this has to do with making you work in your lifestyle. So I can make it work because again, my lifestyle, I'm walking around Europe in tailored clothing, tailored suits, right? And I can make it work because my work life, which is usually going to be the majority of your life and what you as a human will revolve around in some kind of way, my work life can facilitate that, right? Because I'm not going out sweating, I'm not picking up heavy shit. I can't because my back's fucked up, but I'm not going out there doing that, right? Whereas on the flip side, now if I was going out, to a construction field all day, right? Driving the excavators and shit like that. And of course, no, wearing a suit's not gonna fit, something that delicate to wear that, it's not gonna fit that lifestyle, right? It's just, I mean, people can make it work. Don't get me wrong, but in the end, it's more about it's the lifestyle, your profession, right? That I would say it's what's going to take up most of your time and how you live like that is what's going to influence the dress. And I don't know how I got on that topic. Oh, yeah. So DT, at some point, yeah, you're always going to be identified with what you do. I think it's just a human thing at this day and age with our workforce. You're always the first few questions anybody's ever going to ask is, "What do you do?" Right? That's always going to be the first. In many cases, is what's going to come out, right? And then people just would judge you accordingly to that, which is fucked up. But that's just a reality that we live with. So some people just lie. Some people just say they do something that they think is respectable or whatever the fuck. You know, that's just how it works out. But at some point, and you being 24, you always gonna be judged on it. Now, what I would prefer you do is is have some type of skill that you like and say that that's what you do. And then let's say you might be in a down period. You may have to work at McDonald's and you working at McDonald's right now. But what you do is, accounting or whatever the fuck, right? That's what you do. But people are always going to judge you. It's just I think it's just where we are in society. You were about to share your thoughts on needing the validation, thinking, oh shit. Well, I just seen that. A bird brain 304X crazy the entire movie, and in the end realize she needs a man. Or yeah, so I'm gonna get off here, man. I think I will try to watch Breakfast at Tiffany's. Just see what it's because I had a friend of mine. He talked about it a long time ago, and I just never. What's up, Miktowski? I just never gave it a chance. I did. I tried, and it was just so boring in the beginning, where she like walks into a coffee shop, because it took forever for her to get to the fucking coffee shop, and I just got so bored, I just turned the shit off. But I'm gonna try to watch it tonight. It's just so sad, like how women are just like so beautiful, and they just like lose it. And it's just nothing they can like. Now, okay, in my opinion, the only other way they can kind of save it is if they age with some type of class. Like, oh, for example, this morning I was looking at some kind of way I stumbled on Britney Spears, and let me see if I can find this shit. There was an article. It's gonna be all in Czech. Hang on. Well, it was some UK website. Maybe I could find it. It was some UK website. Let me see if I can find this shit. I probably can't find it, but like she just got older. She's like 41, 42, and and like it's really sad to just watch her just get. Oh, well, here you go, right here. Britney Spears says trainer told her to get her younger body back. Like, oh wait, can you guys see that? Yeah, it's just so sad. Like, let's click on this, see where it goes. I ain't trying to get copyrighted. It's just so sad. This is gonna play. Nope, don't play. See, like she's 40, dude. Like, she's just too old to be doing this shit. You too old to be walking. I mean, now here's the thing. Here's the thing. Her body looks good for her age. Don't get me wrong. Like I think she looks good for 40. Like I'm not bashing her for that. But the thing, like, she's 40. You too old to be walking around trying to prance around like you 23. Like if she doesn't look bad, she's got a better body than many 20-year-olds. Right? But she's too old to be walking in her face. Like, she just looks tired. Look at her face. Like, she looks exhausted. Like, it's sad, man. Like, but the thing is, like, that's all she knew. That all she knew to get any type of attention in life and to get anything going in her direction was to walk outside so you can see her curves and her legs and her body, right? That's all. She doesn't know how to go somewhere and become a scholar and become a teacher. You know what I'm saying? She don't know how to go off and spin it off into giving lessons on thermodynamics. She doesn't know anything else. That's all she knows. Look at me. I can look like I'm 23 again. Like, and it's just sad. Maybe they have a picture of her when she used to be younger. Like, look at her, like her body, like as a 40-year-old woman, her body does not look bad. But she, like, again, it's what she is. It's not going together well, right? She just looks crazy, right? Shit gonna play. Oh, I gotta go to Instagram. Oh, I ain't doing that. Now, very few women can get away with that. Very few women. For example, I think I remember, what's her name? Kate Beckinsale. I hope, is that how you spell her name? Now, she can get away with it. But also, and here's the thing. The reason why Kate Beckinsale can get away with that is because she does, I don't know, did she go to school or something? But she has a bit of class to her. Let me see if she went to university or something. I bet she went. She's 50 years old. She's older than Britney Spears. Looks like she did go to college. Yeah. Well, yeah, and that makes sense. Now that's adding up. Because there is a part of her, like, here's the thing. I never seen anything in Kate Beckinsale until I heard her talk. And it's her fucking accent and just her, like, how she talks. That was when I was like, oh, I get it now. I get why motherfuckers like her, because she looks just like a regular old white woman. Like, there's nothing real special about her, right? Until she starts to talk, and it's like, oh, there's actually something going on in her fucking head, right? She can get away with that, but the reason she can get away with it is because you can tell there's something else going on in her fucking head. Whereas, like, a regular 40-year-old woman with not a whole lot else, like, she can't do the same things. Let me see if we can find, like, because like everything that she's doing, there's a sense of class behind it, right? Except, I don't know, yeah, this shit just kind of showed her woman nature of just wanting to fuck a guy who she thinks other women want to fuck. That definitely, her woman nature got exposed in that. But everything you see of her is like, there's still some sense of class behind it, right? Even though it's some like this is wild shit, but it's still some sense of class, right? But yeah, that's it, man. Let me catch up on these comments. AD, what's your favorite Batman film? Fuck. I got it. It's not a one film. It's like many independent ones. Is it Gotham Knights? It's the one where he actually. Let me see if I can pull it up. If you ask me off the top of my head, which I probably have a different answer tomorrow, because there's one. I'm a big fan of Owlman. I love Owlman. Remember that. Hang on. I love Owlman. This whole scenario right here, the Batman versus Owlman. I love that whole. I love Owlman in this. But what's it? This is it. This is one of my favorite ones, where he fights. Well, he doesn't really fight. He really fights Scarecrow in it, but this was really good too. Can you see that? You know, so you can see that. This off the top of my head. This is one of my favorite Batman. Trying to think of another one. That one, and they're making another one. It's set like in a steampunk era or something like that. They're making a newer one too. Yeah, I don't think it's come out yet, but I can't wait to watch that. I still haven't watched it was a Justice League that was set in Russia. I still haven't watched that one. And I just never make it back to it. But I've been wanting to watch it, where it's like it's Justice League, but it's set if everything took place in communist Russia or something like that. Still haven't made it to that yet. But this is probably the Gotham Knight is probably my favorite. That shows like different parts of them. Batman Doom, yeah, Batman Doom was good where he where that dude snuck in and stole ways how to kill the Justice League and all that shit. That was good. Um, it just depends on what I'm thinking if I can remember at the time. But that's all I can think of on the top of my head. The Dark. Oh yeah, yeah. The Dark Knight. Yeah, you're right, Chris Chambers. Yeah, the Dark Knight Returns, where he fights Superman. I read. You know what? I read that comic book after I watched the movie, and the comic book was pretty much like it was pretty much like the Watchmen comic book. The Watchmen comic book was pretty much like page for page the movie, right? And I think that's how they really should do most superhero movies. I think they'd be a lot better. Like for example, in Ant Man, they killed MODOK for some reason. Marvel is just going to shit. Like Marvel is just because they keep killing off everybody. They just keep killing off bad guys that there's no reason to really kill them off. But it's like maybe it's some maybe the higher ups make it like that. I don't know, but it's going to shit. But yeah, yeah, I read this comic book like after I watched the movie, and the comic book it's a bit boring. That was back in the days where they would just fill half the page up with words, kind of thing. But it was pretty much page for page with the comic book. From what I can remember, it was pretty much page for page. And I think Ben Affleck just did an awful job trying to be this Batman. Like it was just an absolutely awful job. Absolutely, he was trying to be this. Comic historian's a good dude. He was trying to be that Batman, and like Ben Affleck was just awful. Like it just, I mean, I'm sure he's a great guy, but like no, just no. Just Ben, they should have seen that in the draft and just threw that film in a trash can and kept going. It was awful. So for anybody who likes Ben Affleck as Batman, like I don't see how you can like Ben Affleck as Batman and even know that this exists. Christian Bale was okay. In reality, like I'm more of like a Christian Bale fan. Like in his like I think he's just a crazy dude overall. But there is no way that you could know that this movie exists, in my opinion, and still like in any kind of way you can still like Ben Affleck on any level as Batman. Like there was only one scene that he did a good job, I think. And it was where they were standing where it was the first time he met Clark Kent at that party. And he was talking about writing puff piece editorials. That scene right there, because that was what they led with in the trailers, and I thought, oh wow, Ben Affleck might do a good job, because that speech interaction was, I thought he did a great job. But the more he just kind of existed and had this like weird smirk on his face the whole time, and like he just doesn't even carry himself like now where I like Christian Bale was Christian Bale carried himself like he might do that shit in real life. You know what I mean? Like, and I watched a Christian Bale interview where he said that he had some people who didn't like him, and they said they were gonna like bash his head in. So Christian Bale said, "Well, where are they?" And Christian Bale went out to go look for him to go get into a fight. Now I can believe that. Christian Bale strikes me as that type of person. I would love to sit down and have a conversation with him. That's one of the few celebrities I would say that I would love to sit down and just hang out with him. Just see what he has to say as a human. Right? Just have a cup of coffee. I don't want no money from him, nothing like that. I would just to sit down and just because I think he's just a different type of dude overall, right? He's just his own type of dude. But Ben Affleck, no, that was just there's absolutely nothing about him that says he should ever be Batman at any point in his life or ever again. I always laugh when you shit on Ben Affleck's performance. That shit was awful. There's the only other part I liked. Well, the only parts I liked was when he just didn't talk. Then two, they made him an alcoholic, which was Ridiculous. Then 3, they gave his Batmobile guns, bullets, which was, yeah, they was just confused. When they made that Batman, they was just confused. Then that scene, remember that scene where it was him fighting Will Smith as Deadshot? And he's almost, I'm not in front of your daughter. It just like nothing seemed. No, like I'm not afraid of. Like if I seen Ben Affleck in the bat suit, I'm like, get this motherfucker, move. I'm not afraid of this motherfucker. There's nothing about him. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's just not. He just did a terrible. It just didn't work. Just didn't work at all. On no level. They try to even try to touch on it being serious by showing the Joker riding on Robin's suit, ha ha ha, and that just was just no, just just no. The scenes where he worked as Bruce Wayne or Batman were far and few in between, very far and few in between for me. It's a solid Batman story that really highlighted the difference. Well, here's the thing, man. Like my thing with Batman, and one area that I really liked about him in the comic, and it's more particularly one comic book I remember reading was where he dives into his own analyzation. Batman dives into his own analyzation, and he says, deep down, Superman is a good person, whereas deep down, Batman knows he's not a good person, right? And Superman, I think Superman is really great, but I think it just always comes out in just a cliche way because everybody just kind of focuses on the fighting and flying and all that. Where Superman's biggest issue is he's afraid he's gonna actually hurt motherfuckers, right? Like that's it. Like Spider-Man, he's one of them types. Like he's just so strong in his world that he's afraid he's gonna actually accidentally hurt somebody. That's his biggest fear is accidentally like killing people he loves just by hugging them and shit, right? So there's always a storyline arc somewhere where either Batman or Lois Lane got Superman's powers, and every time it happened, they realized that Superman could actually like hear everybody going in distress and problems. But it comes out that Superman learns to just let humanity just live, and he just kind of randomly saves people here and there because he really could just go around and just save everybody all the time, but he just doesn't do it again because he just has a respect for humanity and just being human. So Batman would always, or I think Batman and Lois Lane, both of them, I think they both got Superman's powers at some point, and both of them just went crazy with it, and they just got mad at essentially got mad at Superman because they found out that he could do this. So they just went around and just saved the whole world. Like, well, Batman did even when he got that chair. I forget that chair he got, where he could time travel, I think. And he just went just crazy with it and tried to save everybody everywhere as much as he could and just ran himself to exhaustion to the point where he ends up just becoming a dictator type of shit where you got to do what I say type of thing. Was Lois Lane did the same shit when she got the powers too. But and that's what Injustice is built. Injustice was built off of that same core logic of well, Superman was just pushed to say like not again, and like nobody else is gonna hurt because I'm gonna protect everybody. I'm gonna take it upon myself to protect everyone type shit, and that's how the whole Injustice storyline was created off of that. But I wonder if that's still going on because that Injustice that was a real good comic book. Because I remember there was one part in that comic where because they were real short, but they were real good. And it was one where Batman killed the Joker. He finally did it, right? Batman was taking the Joker to the somewhere in the Batmobile, and the Joker says something like, "I'm gonna kill somebody else's kid" or something like that. And Batman didn't say a word. He just reached over and just snapped his neck, right? He just killed him. And Batman, being Batman, I think he just drove to the police station and said, "Look, lock me up. I just killed him." And Batman, no, it wasn't. That wasn't Injustice. I don't think that was Injustice. I think that was just a whole nother comic. I can't remember now. But in that scenario, Superman said, like, "Look, Bruce, like, just say the word and I'll break you out." Like, because I'm Superman, who gonna stop me? Right? And Batman's like, "No, I'm Batman, I play by the rules and I killed him. So I'm making myself stay in prison, and that's what he did. He just stayed in there. I don't think that was injustice. Now I can't remember what that was. I don't think that was it because injustice they was always beefing the whole time. If they got them Krypton pills. Yo, Chris Chambers, another one I got on was the Batman Who Laughs. That was actually pretty. I thought that was a pretty cool. Which I would always hear that last Batman game was really supposed to be like that, and it really should have been like that for real. Where the Joker was in Batman, but the Batman Who Laughs, in my opinion, was way. I didn't read the whole entire series, but what I did get to was it was really good. But I think Batman Arkham Knight was just like the only reason that worked how it did work was because it was a video game. I think if that had been just a comic book, it wouldn't have worked at all. The Batman Who Laughs, it was far better, but also it was a book and not a video game or a movie. Henry Cavill, I agree, Pimped Up Platypus. Henry Cavill, by far the best Superman. That one dude who plays Superman in that show does a good job, but he does look a little off. But there's a dude who plays Superman in a TV show, not Smallville, but it was another one where they got two kids. He was good too. I really enjoyed his performance. But Henry Cavill was just the best, like just the best. They need to just go what DC needs to do. I think the best way DC could save their situation right now is have Superman fly around the world again to rewind time, because and do whatever. Look, pay Henry Cavill whatever he wants to do that shit. Just don't try to edit that mustache out again. That shit was horrible. But keep Henry Cavill, keep the Joker. I would say like I can. The Robert Pattinson dude, like he doesn't really fit in all that, but I wouldn't be mad if they would keep him. Get rid of pretty much everybody else in the Justice League. Just pretend like that shit never happened. From Gal Gadot, the dude who plays Shazam isn't bad, but 'cause I just watched Shazam last night actually, but Aquaman, all that, just pretend like that shit never happened, right? And and may come up with some story where Superman got to fly around the world, but he fucking tripped along the way, and now the timeline they got all fucked up. So now we got his Joaquin Phoenix as Joker. I said I would accept the Pattinson dude as Batman. I would accept it. Or that dude who played the Joker in the new Batman movie. He was good too. Um, and keep Superman. Lois Lane, in my opinion, to get Lois Lane right is a difficult thing. I say Lois Lane, the cast a great Lois Lane would be just as difficult to cast a great Superman who can play both Clark Kent and Superman well. Just like we're like Peter Parker, like Spider-Man, it's difficult to find someone who can play Peter Parker and Spider-Man well, like in the same movie type shit. Because Andrew Garfield played a great Spider-Man, but he didn't great. He just wasn't Peter Parker at all. Where Tobey Maguire was a good Peter Parker, but he wasn't Spider-Man at all. And then the new dude, I can't remember, Holland, whatever his name is, he was pretty much a good ultimate Peter Parker Spider-Man, but just was not a good adult Spider-Man. I think Lois Lane is kind of the same thing, because Lois Lane is supposed to be a hot woman, but she's also sexy in the form like she'll fuck around and beat your ass at the same time. Like Lois Lane is supposed to be a woman who's like a really good looking woman, but she can also go out there and change that tire without even questioning it, right? Like she's gonna go change her own goddamn tire. She ain't calling for help. Right. And like I think Charlize Theron is one who could always fit that role. Like she's hot, but at the same time, like she looks like she could do some wild shit. Charlize Theron could fit that role. I would say Gal Gadot can fit it as long as she didn't try to like Gal Gadot. She did that same shit as Ben Affleck. She kept smirking all the fucking time, like something funny. Like bitch, you Wonder Woman. Like you ain't supposed to be walking around chuckling and you know what I'm saying, smirking all the goddamn time. Cause I just watched Shazam and she put on a little bit of weight. I think she looks better now because she put on a little bit of weight. She come around smirking like, her music playing. Like, bitch, why are you smiling? That's what Ben Affleck's problem. I was on. I broke my shoulder. He look up. He going smiling while he moving his shoulder. Hey, what the fuck? Why are you smiling? You know what makes Batman gangster is that Batman would stand there and just be like, "Let's go." And that was it. He didn't care about what nobody said. Batman. That's what made Batman gangster. Because my girl, she likes the newer movies, so I show her, the Justice League episode. Y'all remember that episode in Justice League where the Ace gang where the little girl died and Batman had to go in there because Amanda Waller, because she never seen the cartoon version of Amanda Waller. She thinks Viola Davis Viola Davis does do a good job, don't get me wrong, but nothing beats like the fat Amanda Waller. Like the fat Amanda Waller is the best. She called him rich boy and all that shit like that. Like, so she had never seen Batman in the cartoon, so I showed her that, how it's like legit sad scenes that the movies just don't do, right? The cartoon was great, and I showed her a scene where she stayed with the girl till her time came, and he walked out with her. The reason why Batman was so it wasn't because he was jumping off a build. I mean, it was a good addition, but for me, what made Batman so gangster was that this motherfucker always knew what was going on, but didn't feel the urgency to have to let anybody know, right? The motherfucker just, I'm aware. Okay. Remember that one time when Batman saved Superman? Superman was like, "Oh, thank you so much, Superman. You saved me." And Batman goes, "Yes, I'm aware of that." Anyway, I mean, he didn't give a fuck. Right? There was no smiling. You know what I mean? It was no smile. I'm gonna let y'all go in a minute, but that fucking comic book where he had that chair. There was a comic book where he had that. Let me see if I can pull it up. Where he had that chair. It's gonna pull up like chairs. Hang on. Here it is. Can you see? Yeah, you guys see that. This comic book where Batman had this chair, right? And in this chair. Oh, let me move my big ass head out the way. In this chair, Batman could go to. I'm pretty sure he could time travel. But he could stop crimes, and it was wearing him out, right? So this motherfucker was essentially, in his world, he was God, as long as he was in this chair, right? Now, this is something that Ben Affleck's Batman could just his Batman could just not have the same weight of what happened, right? Here it is. This is it right here. Let me see. Can you guys read that? Why did they do that? Oh, here it is right here. So it was this. Oh, shit. Let me move it again. So, see, scenes like this is what the DC movies just cannot have the same weight of it. Because he asked the chair. Okay, because that's what it was. He would talk to the chair, and the chair just knew every motherfucking thing, right? Just it was just, I forget what, I can't remember what the fuck the chair's deal was, but it just knew everything. So he asked this chair, what's the Joker's name? Can you guys read that? Let me see if I can zoom in on it. So he asked the chair. So Joe Chill. So he asked the chair. He's talking to the chair. He says, "What's the Joker's true name?" And it talks to him, and he looks like, "No, that's impossible." Motherfucker, for Batman to say some shit was impossible, that shit must have been some wild ass shit. And it took these motherfuckers years to explain it. Now, the explanation wasn't that good. I think they wrote themselves into a corner. Because I waited for years for that next comic book to come out, and I bought that shit. Because I remember exactly where I bought it. I bought it at the comic book store in the basement in Palladium, in the mall in the center. I went down there. Because it took them a good, I want to say it took them a good 3-4 years to explain this shit. Why Batman would be dead serious and say some shit was impossible, right? It took on now the explanation was it was three main jokers that would go around and recruit motherfuckers who they thought that can be turned crazy. So they just had their own. So the Joker essentially just had their own army of Jokers hidden in the basement somewhere. And so whenever one Joker would die, you would watch the Joker die. It explained why the Joker came back, type of shit, and also explain like the different personalities every time he would come back. Like sometimes he'd be goofy as fuck, other times he'd be a stone cold murderer, other times he'd be like a chemist, some shit like that, and poison the whole city's water and all that shit like that. So it did explain a lot of that shit. Well, but on the back end, like I think this simple part right here had built up so much that like they really like. I think it was like the same theory as like Avengers Infinity War. Infinity War ended on such a good note that Endgame was just a fucking piece of garbage. Like it was just awful, and Marvel just never recouped after Infinity War. Like I think it just kind of just rolled them into a corner, and they could just never live up to that hype on how it left off. For people like me, I like these, like I love endings that don't. That's why I was a big fan. I still am a big fan of Hellblazer comic book, the John Constantine comic books, because the Constantine comics, at least the Hellblazer comics, they always ended on these kind of bittersweet, these bittersweet endings at best, right? And I always loved comics that were more realistic with it like that. Not like we just all beat the bad guy and that's just the end of it type shit. Like those are always the boring movies to me. Batman is a mortal man straight dunking on guys. That's just why it's my favorite. Yeah. But yeah, man. But again, Ben Affleck just no. Just the weight of he just couldn't even do this with the same weight at all. It just wouldn't even be right. He couldn't do it. But yeah, Watchmen, yeah, that's a great movie too, man. The only difference was though, because I still remember that at the end of the comic book, okay, in the comic book they blamed it on a giant octopus. In the movie, they blamed it on Dr. Manhattan. They said that he had accidentally set off like some type of like atom bomb or something like that in Manhattan, and it killed like millions. But in killing that millions, it calls for the world to unite to stop that doomsday clock from going off and sending off nukes everywhere. Whereas in the comic, it was I'm pretty sure it was like a huge squid or something like that. They just put a huge squid that just like, I mean, a huge like a city size squid and just dropped it on the whole city and killed all the people. Because the theory was like but the ending theory was the same. It's if we just go out there and just kill millions, that will cause all the humans to get over their differences between each other and just unite. Because the whole movie was the whole theory, like I'm pretty sure it was if I remember correctly, it was like a consequence of the Cold War shit or something, or Vietnam / Cold War / countries were just, everybody was just mad at each other. So the doomsday clock was like constantly ticking down before everybody just shot nukes off and just killed everybody type shit. But it was still good. It was a giant octopus, that's what it was, yeah. It was still good though. Like both versions were still good. You say the Boys was good. I just can't keep up with the Boys, man. Like the dude who plays Homelander is really good. I think he's a great fucking actor. Honestly, I had no idea he was like 50 years old, by the way. But I think the Boys just kind of went on. I think it's just going on too long. I think it really should have been one of those shows that should have gone no longer than maybe like 1 or 2 seasons. I think it's just hitting that point where it's just overstaying its welcome. Don't get me wrong, it's still great, but it's just going on too long. I think it would just have a much better send off if they just like ended it and had motherfuckers begging for it to come back, like end on a high note kind of thing, like the Seinfeld show, like end on a high note, because they're just gonna beat it to death now. But yeah, I'm gonna watch Breakfast at Tiffany's though. Let me catch y'all on the flippity flip, man. I'm talking about Batman for the last fucking hour, and I'm switching to go watch Breakfast at Tiffany's. Yeah. because I stayed on way too long. So I'm gonna let y'all go, man. Yo, thanks everybody who tuned in, like, donated, subscribe, comment. Thanks to anybody who tuned in or commented anything, man. Thanks a lot for tuning in. And I catch you on the flippity flip, man. Peace out.